Well, hello, I'm Alex, and today I've got an idea for making zines. So you can use this simple zine format to develop a daily practice. It's small, it's little, you can take it with you anywhere you go. It's perfect for prompts, and it's perfect for when you don't have time. You know how I'm always saying, it's easy to spend a few minutes a day in creative play. I'm sure some of you are like, well, it's easy for you to say you're an artist. So, I'm making these videos for you to take play breaks with me. This is your creativity timeout, baby. Just grab whatever supplies you have on hand, work alongside me, don't worry. I'm keeping this no fuss fabulous, easy peasy. Go ahead, check it out. Hello, hello! Today I've got another daily play with zines and stamping video for you, and we're going to play with mandalas today. So if you've ever drawn mandalas before, you can stamp them, and it's so much fun to do. You just need to prepare your stamps ahead of time. If you've been following any of the videos in this series about zines and stamping, you may have all the stamps you need, but I will introduce some new ones to you today, and I'll show you the ones that I think would be ideal for making mandalas, which you might already have if you've been following along. So let's get going here. What do you need? So you will need your Eva craft foam, the one with the sticky back. You'll need a support to stick it on, and I use this very strong thin cardboard that I can cut with scissors, so you need scissors. You'll need a pencil. You'll need your stamping ink, and if you just have one color, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to try to make a colorful mandala so that you can see what that looks like. You'll need a zine, of course, and if you don't know how to fold a zine, I've got a video for you called How to Fold a Zine. And today we're going to not just do a zine, but we're going to do a card. So this is a piece of regular white craft paper folded in half, and I'm going to show you how you can stamp a beautiful mandala on this card. And let's get going here. So, what shapes can you use for your mandala? So let's check out these mandalas here. This is obviously a 4-color mandala, and I used the tulip shape, I used leaf shapes, small and large, I used a head shape, I used a snowflake that was etched with the pencil. Well, all these leaves, all those lines were etched. So maybe you've got etched stamps, maybe you've got solid stamps. I used a star stamp, so here's the star. And then, yeah, so you can just see what we're doing is we have a center point, and then we go around and around and around, and that's all there is to a mandala. Now, if you're not using a square piece of paper, if you keep going round and round, at some point your circle gets cut off, but you can keep doing arcs. And it's just as beautiful to do it in black, and it doesn't perfectly have to line up. This is not about perfection. It's just about play. So let's try this. Let me put this here so you can keep looking at it. Stamps from the previous videos, that would be helpful. The tulip stamp would be great, and I've actually got 2 sizes of those. The rainbow stamp would be great if you want to etch lines into it. That's great. The cross, I've shown you how to do twice already, I think. The leaf shape is what we want. If you have more than one size leaf, that's Perfect. So your leaf shape is just like this. You can also turn that same shape into an eye, which we did in the map fun video. A diamond shape is great. A triangle shape is great. A drop shape is great. Anything that's circular is great. So I've got a sun, I've got a star inside a circle, I've got concentric circles, and a star. So let me put the star here. So the ones that you might not have, or you may not have any of these, I'm going to show you how to make these, and then the same way we make these, you would make any of these. But feel free to watch some of the other videos because I think you'll enjoy it. So a heart would be great. So let's grab the green foam. I like to start with a strip because that's probably more than what I need. Let's talk hearts. Okay. To make a heart, you start at the bottom, you curve around, you dip in, you dip out. It does not need to be a perfect heart. Remember, you can draw on the back side of this Eva foam with the Eva foam with the sticky back. You can draw on the back side of this. So if you wanted to draw a heart, let's try that again. You can draw your heart like this, and then you can just cut it out if that makes it easier for you. So there's this guy. Yeah, this guy probably looks a little better than this guy. So we've got a heart. And then what we do is we stick it on a support. So we peel off the back here. I'm going to stick it down. And then I cut it out of my support. I try to sort of trim around my design as close as I can. So here's a heart. So that works for me. And I already had this guy here. All right. I want you to do one of these. So what's really nice with these mandalas is to have some shapes that are long and skinny, whereas other shapes are short and squat, because that way you can combine and fill the spaces. As you're adding your layers round and round, you're going to see you have white space and you can decide what to put in there. So I want you to do one of these, which would be 3 hearts. If you don't want to do 3 hearts, you could do 3 circles. You could do 3 diamonds. Okay, why don't we do 3 diamonds in case the heart is not something you want to do. 3 diamonds would be maybe a little bit easier. So we want them to get bigger as they go. So maybe this is the first size, and then I want it to be a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to sort of cut around it. So this could be the second size, and this could be the third. Oops, I just messed that up. Okay, maybe make this a little skinnier, and this a little skinnier. So, all right, a diamond is just, if you have a rectangle, a diamond would just go like that, right? Actually, here's a very elongated diamond that I've already made, but we're doing this one to stack. So it's fun when you make stamps, it's fun to do composite stamps where the same shape repeats, and then you stack them. So remember, you can draw on the back side. I'm not too worried about this being any certain way. And then this would be the biggest one of all. So let's see if I like the proportions. Oops. I think I do. I think I'm okay with this. It's getting bigger and bigger as it goes up. So maybe just one little snip here. All right, so this is a composite stamps because it's made of several stamps on the same support here. I've cut into this so many times, I'm trying to find a spot that doesn't have a cut. Okay, so this is the big one. And let's see, so now the question is, do I want to leave space? You know what, I could have stacked them this way. Why don't I do that? That's just an idea I just got. I'm going to leave space between them, and instead of stacking them long ways, I'm going to stack them horizontally. Because don't forget, we're working in the zine format, which is pretty small. Before you push down your foam, there's still some chance to reposition. I'm actually gonna, let's see, I'm gonna flip this guy there. Now I'm happier. Okay. You know what? I don't think I finished listing all the supplies. Of course, everything I tell you in terms of supplies and prompts, you'll find in the video description below, but you need your Eva foam, you need your scissors, you need your support, or maybe I did tell you everything. You need your stamping ink. If you have craft ink, that's great. You'll have more colors. And you'll need wipes. And you'll need plenty of scrap paper to be able to stamp on. And when it comes to cleaning, the scrap paper is also important. Okay, so here you go. Here's the composite one we're doing for our mandalas today. Again, you can make yours hearts, you can make yours dots. So we've made a heart to add to all the other shapes. So if you don't have any shapes at all, make sure you make a heart, make a leaf, maybe a big one and a small one. You don't have to etch into it if you don't want to, but if you etch into it, you just take, if this is the foam you cut out, you just take your pencil, draw a line down the center, and then go up on the sides like that. But again, you don't have to use etching for these mandalas if you don't want to. Try it out if you haven't. A tulip shape is great, a cross shape is great, a rainbow shape is great. A drop, and now we're going to get into the petals, and then we'll be ready to start stamping. So, and if you have any of these other stamps like stars, eyes, circles, that's great too. If you just make sure you make at least one circle, and maybe a smaller one would be great. If that's too hard to do, don't worry about it. If you want to etch into one of your circles, why not make a star? That'll make it a little more interesting. And in your diamond shape, you can also etch this way and give it some detail. So now we're working on the petals, and then I think we'll have enough variety to make some really fun mandalas. So when I say petals, all I mean is that you make a drop and then you cut off that little point, okay? Because when you're going around a circular center, it's different if you start with a point or if you start with a flat area, and you'll see that in a second. So let's just make a drop. So you start at a point, you get as wide as you can before you come back down. So here's a very nice drop. And now I'm just going to snip off. So if you wanted to draw a line, you could draw that line. That's what we're snipping off here. Or you just snip it, and there you go. So we're going to do this guy. I've actually already got one of these down, so I don't even think I'm going to stick it on. You saw me stick on this guy, and I did the heart, so I want us to get going here. I want you to do a cup shape. So this is a petal shape, which gets skinnier, but why not just do a cup shape, okay? And then do one that's fat and one that's round, one that's skinny, and then you'll be all set, like these two. I actually have 3. You'll be fine if you just do 2. So let me go ahead and prep my foam here. So on one side here, we're just gonna cut it out like that, okay? And on the other side, we're just gonna make it longer and skinnier, okay? All right, so a cup shape or a rounded door shape, whatever you want to call that, would be this guy. So that's perfect. And then a really long and skinny one would just mean that your curve at the top is tighter and you come down straight like that. So grab your pencil and let's go ahead and do some etching in case you've never done it before. And I'm gonna pick up where I left off with the diamond here, in the sense that we've just created this composite stamp with 3 shapes on it. Let's do this etching to each of these, okay? So draw a line from corner to corner. You'll need a sharp pencil for this, and you might have to go back once just to make sure you push that foam down. And then let's go the other direction, the other corner to corner here. So we're just making a cross. And what happens when you etch is you're pushing the foam down so it doesn't come in contact with the stamping ink. And you'll see your paper. So it'll show, if you're using white paper, it'll show up as white lines. All right, let's do the other part, which is to start at the center and just like flick out. That would be one way to do it. Or you could make a little X. So let's start with something we can put in the center. So you want to get enough ink on there, so test it out. I wet my fingers because it helps my fingers stick to the back of this cardboard support, and then I'm just stamping like that. Okay, if I'm doing a quarter, that would actually mean that part of this circle should come off. So there's my beginning point, okay? Now I'm gonna go around and let me pick a small leaf shape here. And I'm just gonna go around. So that would be my center and my first layer. I could now grab, let's see, I'm gonna grab my rainbow. If you want to draw very thin lines to help you see how to layer, that's perfectly fine. Once your ink is dry, you could erase those, or you can just leave them. And now I want another layer. So as we move up, we get more surface to stamp on. So I'm definitely going to show you what this little guy, let's see, one of these little guys looks like at some point. Let's do tulips. If you did my previous video called Stamping Patterns, this is going to feel familiar because we would stamp out our shapes in rows, sometimes rotating them. We're not rotating the direction of the stamp here, but we are putting it in circular rows. Okay. Let's do one more layer. So you can fill the whole page, or you can leave a corner of it, right, to emphasize the curve. Let's see how that turns out. Let's do the heart, or let's do a drop. Let's see, what can we do here? How about we do, can't use that guy yet. We don't have the space for it. Definitely do a heart. Alright, I want to show you what this guy looks like. Because this guy's really thin, which means you have to use it a lot of times, which also has a really fun effect. Okay. And then if I wanted to do one more thing here, I'm going to do the hearts. So you see, this could be one day of your creative play break. Sometimes you have to really insist that the ink get on there when it's a new stamp. Okay, now that smudge just came from my finger, so beware when you're making these really thin supports. If your finger touches the ink pad, that's gonna stamp too. Okay. So this is what a quarter mandala would look like. Let's do a double page, which would be a rainbow. So remember how I showed you how to take that square and divide it up? If this is the center, you could lightly draw a line that goes up to that corner, just to help you visualize your circle here. So let's pick a different one for the center. I'm going to use the one with the concentric circles, and only half of it should show up, right? So there you go, that's going to be my center. And I'm going to go around that with this big petal. So we've got more space when we do the double. Oops, look, I just dip my finger into the ink. Alright, let's go here. One. How many do you think I can get in here? 4 or 5. Okay. It's fine to go off the page. That's just gonna happen. So alright, now how about we do something that's pointy? So like a leaf that has a point on one end. So I'm going to turn it around so that it's this way. Yeah, that's how I want it to be. Okay, so you see how I've got space here. So how about I get that point and I bring it down into where the other two shapes have space between them. Does that make sense? So I could have lined it up here, and I could have done a row in the same way I did a row of petals. I could have done a row of leaves, but this is where it gets to be really fun to use different sizes of stamps, because I can also use something that's pointy to get into a negative space here, but then what I'm doing is creating space between the shapes where I could use a different shape. So how about, what can we use in between there? We could do the heart. So let's get the heart. And I'm going to get the heart and I'm going to try to line it up with that petal I did. And then in between. So now I'm lining up my heart to be between my petals. I'm sorry, between my leaves and sort of on top of those petals. So now I did a row where basically what I did was alternate leaf, heart, leaf, heart, leaf, heart. And now I'm going to do something like that again. I'm going to bring in a new stamp. I'm going to use the cross. I'm going to stack the cross on top of the hearts. Okay, so I've just used the cross this way. And now I'm going to fill in something between the cross, so you can see it's not evenly spaced, but that's okay. We could use the tulips again, we could use the rainbows. Oh, let's do the rainbows because they're a little bit fatter. So these already have some ink on them, so once you've built up some ink, when you dip back into the stamp pad, it's usually much darker the second time you use it. Ooh, I like that. Okay. Something else we could use to fill in a row. So why don't we just do one shape and sort of repeat the fact that we started by repeating the same shape. Then we did 2 layers of alternating shapes. So let's repeat a shape, and we could make it the tulip. Let's repeat the tulip. We could also do a round one we haven't done yet. Why don't we do the star, and then we'll finish with the tulip. Let's do that. So star all the way around. Okay. And now we're gonna finish with the tulip, which is this little guy. You know, I actually have even a smaller tulip. I'm going to use the smaller one. So this is where it's nice to have, if you have a favorite shape, like a heart or a tulip, which are super fun to use with this. It's nice to have more than one size. Okay, so I would say this would be a great double page. This is a great first page, and I'll keep working on this and then scan it. I just recorded how to make this card using the cardstock and doing a circular mandala this time using the stamps we made, and it's too long. I can't add it to this video, so I'm going to do a part 2 where I'll include the recording for how to make the card. But for now, all you need to know is how to clean your stamps, and then we're done with this video. So make sure to check out part 2. Let's see, let me grab this guy. Check out part 2 to see how I made the card, especially since I'm using different colors. So the way you clean a stamp is you try to get as much ink off on your scrap paper. Then you take a wipe and you wipe it, and then you sort of keep stamping and keep wiping. Now this one is going to stay blue. The foam is actually going to stay blue because the foam, it was a white Eva Craft foam sheet. So if you're using the white, don't be surprised if it never goes back to white again. But that doesn't mean it's not clean. So just stamp it out and wipe until it looks clean, and you need to do that for all your stamps. Okay, I hope you had fun taking this tiny play break with me. Be honest, it was super easy. You know, when it comes to your creativity, it's never about what you're making. It's about how you feel while you're making it, right? Okay, I've got lots more videos on my YouTube channel here, so subscribe, stay tuned, play. Come back and get your daily dose of make stuff feel good energy. Thank you so much for being here.